All right, what's going on, guys? Dino Gomez here. Welcome to the Crazy Good Marketing Podcast, where we sit down with industry experts that are doing 6, 7, 8, sometimes 9 figures, and we pick their brain for just 15 quick minutes and figure out exactly what is one crazy marketing story that they have, something that you would not expect works to actually grow your business. I am super pumped up for episode number 1. We are kicking off with a super celebrity here in the industry, Mr. Mads Singer, who's going to be breaking down in today's episode how he has grown his business to over 150 team members without a website. This is insane. Let's dive into this. Mads, how are you doing, buddy? Welcome to the show.
I am fantastic. Fantastic, Dino, and awesome you're having me here. It's always fun to share.
Thank you so much for being here. Your time, you can imagine this guy's time is precious. 150 team members. So Mads, I very much appreciate it, buddy. Let's dive right in. You have a team of 150 plus members, right? Team members. You did it without a website. There's a lot for us to take away from this episode, guys, if you're looking to grow and scale your business, especially scale your time. Mads, before we dive into how you did that, maybe give us a little bit of background here. What's your industry and what's your focus and niche and those types of things?
Sure. We actually have a lot more than 150 staff members now, but basically the first 4 or 5 years we grew extensively without the website. So I actually own multiple businesses. So we have about 5 businesses right now. But basically my industry, I spend a lot of time in the world of SEO. My core passion is really management consulting, like really helping people, teach them how to delegate, how to hire the right people, how to manage them well. That's really my background and passion, right? And we have a few different businesses around like SEO content, and we have an in-house SEO company and a big outsourcing company, which was the one we grew significantly in terms of staff. So we have a few good businesses, and I have a lot of amazing people who help me run those.
I love that. So 5 different businesses, all kind of in the content management consulting, scaling your business kind of field and niche, so to speak. And then you're an expert at this, right? People are coming to you. And by the way, Mads, if you guys haven't met Mads before, people hire Mads for a ton of money because he is obviously really, really good at sales. At systems and operations. And so you want to listen to this guy if you're ready to grow. Mads, okay, so we understand your niche, you kind of content marketing, SEO, and then branched into consulting in terms of how to grow, scale, manage. I have so many questions for you around managing a team. I think it's a very difficult area of growth for a lot of businesses. But before we dive into that, let's talk about this. How in the world did you grow to 150 plus team members without a website? What is your methodology there?
Yeah, so I mean, my core focus when I first went, I left the corporate world in 2014. I spent initially I was doing management consulting as the main thing, but I very much wanted to start a business on the side of that as well, because I never liked working with coaches and consultants who don't actually do what they're coaching, but just talk about it. So I started an outsourcing company because I could see lots and lots of people really struggling to hire quality outsourced labor. And that's called the risk to sourcing. So we started that in 2015. And basically at the time, like I'd already been doing management consulting for a year, and I didn't have a website for that business. And we run the outsourcing company for about 3 or 4 years as additional before we actually got any kind of website. And really my focus was just understanding what I'm really good at. I see so many people who are starting a business and they're like, wow, to do all this stuff, we have to have a great website that costs like a lot of money. We have to do Facebook ads. We have to do all these different things. And basically my philosophy is that you need to figure out what you're really good at. Like, so if you are great at Facebook ads, that's a great way to grow. If you are great at building websites, awesome, right? But my core strength have always been networking, and that's how I've been very successful in the corporate world. And fundamentally, that was what I did, right? So I got into lots of different communities. I niched down and I focused primarily on SEO and e-commerce, and basically went around to a whole bunch of events. I did a lot of speaking, so got on a lot of stages. And reality is that, I got into a lot of one-to-one conversations with people who really needed help with hiring staff, because just like management, hiring great people is difficult for a lot of people. So again, it was very easy conversations. We ended up onboarding a few very big clients pretty early on. And the whole thing is, when you hire people, you have very happy clients, they talk to other people, right? So
Mm.
fundamentally, with just going around like conferencing a lot, networking a lot, talking to a ton of people, we managed to grow this business in about 3 years or so, from zero to about 150 people. And then eventually we did build a website, and we have scaled that further at this point, right? But I think it's very important to just understand, when you're starting out, or even if you're starting a second business, like really understand what is your core strength, right? What are you really good at, and how can you really push the business forward?
So for everybody listening in, this is massive, right? No business cards. You don't need the website. You don't need all the fancy things. What are you good at? That's what I just heard Mads say, where in 3 years, he went from zero to over 150 team members. Just insane. So Mads, I personally have a question for you that I think a lot of other people will have as well, which is this: how do you find and vet great talent? Because I've heard this one a lot, right? Your business can only go as far as the quality of your team members. Do you have any tips in terms of like, how do you identify somebody who's going to be loyal, who's going to do the work, who's going to represent your brand well? What do you look for when you hire this talent? Because to grow to 150 team members like you have, you first have to be able to identify amazing talent, I imagine. But then you also, how do you motivate them and keep them on board?
I mean, that I guess from a hiring perspective, that's probably where I've had the biggest cheat code, right? Because I did used to work corporate. I hired lots of people. I interviewed lots of people, so I had a very good feel for that, which is definitely a benefit, right? But again, this is one of the things that I do teach my clients. So a couple of core things around it is, number one, forget about resumes, right? Like
Mm,
for most job roles, you're looking for amazing human beings, right? You're looking for people with the right mindset, the right attitudes, and the right drive, all right? Because a lot of the time people look at the technical skills. They're like, oh, I need someone for link building. I need someone to do social media. And they're like, okay, this person have done it for 10 years. They must be good, right? So a lot of the time people hire based on like the resume and just the skills. But honestly, in most things, skills can be taught, right? But the
mm,
attitude and the mindset, like most people, if you've had employees, you've probably had some not so good one, and you've hopefully had at least one or two great ones. And
mm.
what you will always notice is the great ones are not great because they always come in with a ton of experience. It's about the mindset. It's about the attitude. It's those people who just show up and just deliver, right? And who go figure stuff out and so on. So that's the number one thing, right?
Number one
Second,
thing, guys, real quick. Sorry to cut you off. Number one thing, right? No resumes. All right. Maybe you can request the resume. We'll let Mads speak to that. He's the expert. But don't go straight off resumes. That's a huge one. And by the way, if you're not in a position yet where you are trying to hire, you will be probably and hopefully at some point in time. So take notes or rewatch this, because 150 team members in 3 years, insane. Sorry, bud. Please continue.
So the second thing that I spend a lot of time on is actually understanding people's behavior. So the whole thing that, like, all of us have natural strengths and sort of talents, and we have natural weaknesses, right? And the thing is, people have this idea that anyone can learn anything. But while that is technically true, there's just things that we're naturally inclined to be good at based on our natural behaviors. So actually learning to understand behaviors, and typically I use a framework called DISC, which a lot of my clients are absolutely crazy about. But fundamentally, it's using that framework to help put the right people in the right boxes, right? If you have someone who gets dizzy when they see an Excel sheet with 500 numbers in it, they're probably not going to be great at SEO or bookkeeping or accounting and stuff like that. At the same time, if you have someone who's super introvert and hates talking to strangers, they're probably not going to be a great sales guy, right? Or girl. So fundamentally, like, learning to understand behaviors and learning to understand what behaviors are great for what type of roles and in what type of situations is the second game changer for me in terms of really picking the right people out.
Gotcha. So this is interesting, I think. So you're doing do you do a disc assessment with every team member you're looking to hire to figure out and one, do you hire for, I guess this is a sub question, right? But do you hire for a position, or do you say, okay, we need more help, we need to hire, let's interview some folks and do a disc assessment and see where they would fit?
So the way we do it is you generally want to hire for a particular role or a particular area of expertise, right, or natural skill sets. So a lot of time with as entrepreneurs, we have a lot of things we want done. So what I always recommend is what is the one or two sort of main things that you want someone to do. Like if you have a laundry list of 10 items, you might not find someone that's going to be good at all 10 things, and that's okay. But if you pick the two most important things and see are they a good match for a individual. So what you will notice, for example, is most developers are not good at graphic design. So if you need development and graphic design, that might not be the same type of person, right?
Mm,
So it's also understanding again a little bit about sort of natural behaviors and understanding what type of person is great at what thing. So sometimes, like let's say you need video editing and audio editing. Now that's very likely the same person who could either is or could be good at both of those things. So if you need those kind of things, or even like let's say video editing and graphic design, like that's often a similar type of person, right? So if you can easily find someone who have the skills or at least can pick those things up really quickly if they're good at one or the other, right? So it's really about looking at what is it you need and then understanding does that actually fit with a individual, right? And then the second step, we don't actually do disc assessment. So the secret
mm,
trick with my training is the fact that we teach people how to understand people's natural behavior just
wow.
by communicating with them and looking at them, right? So the beautiful thing about disc is when you become good at disc, and it does take a little bit of time to learn to observe behaviors, but when you're good at it, you're really good, right? So when a stranger sits down beside me in an airplane that I've never met before, when they sit down and start talking, I can generally tell them things about themselves they're not aware of. Right. So
So,
when you, yeah,
real quickly, if you don't mind me hopping in, so if somebody sits next to you in an airplane, what are you doing to understand their personality, their motivations, and stuff like that?
yeah,
How is that done? That's fascinating.
it's simply just reading body language. So like a lot of my
Mm,
great clients, so people like Kurt Phillip, Matt Diggity, etc., have learned this and have picked it up as well. All right, and they appreciate and value the understanding of it. But fundamentally, it's just about reading behaviors. So it's literally looking at how's people using their body language.
mm.
Simple things like what's the volume of their voice? Do they have a very loud voice or do they have a very quiet voice? Or are they sort of in between? It's looking at the amount of natural smiling. So that means, like, we all know people that never smile, and we all know people that smile all the time, right? So
Right.
it's just learning to actually observe basic body language. And it sounds crazy. I mean, when I first heard this and when I first started learning this, it seemed totally insane to me because we're told how everyone is individual and everyone's unique and all this blah blah blah. But reality is that the body language of a human being tells you so much about them that it's crazy, right? So you basically just learn to read the body language. Sometimes it's also just listening to different words. So for example, if an individual used the word think all the time, or if they use the word feel all the time, that tells you a lot about their personality, because basically logical people think and emotional people feel, and you'll generally see that
Oh,
most people use one or the other on a predominant basis, right? Um, but fundamentally, I just look at basic human behavior and I just see how are they using their body, how comfortable are they with close contact, all that sort of stuff.
gotcha. So body language is massive, right? Go beyond the resume, go to body language, talk to somebody, feel them out, understand if they hire for the position in which you specifically need help. And to wrap all this up, Mads, you were saying too that you essentially grew your business for 3 years to over 150 team members without a website through networking, through speaking, through going through events. What's one tip you can leave our guests with in terms of something, an opportunity you think they're missing in regards to, like, most people are doing this wrong from your experience?
I think most people just aren't networking enough. I mean,
Mm,
like a lot of people have heard the saying that your network is your net worth, right? Reality is that in pretty much any business and in management situation, networking is so incredibly valuable. And a lot of time people go out with the wrong approach. They're like, okay, I'm talking to this person. Can they buy my stuff? Oh, no, they can't. Okay, I'll move on to the next one. Networking is really just about going out in the world and helping people. And even if you're starting out brand new, one of the key things you can do is literally just connect people. Like, I'll walk into an event of something I know nothing about. I have one person say, oh, I fix pipes. And I have another person saying, I built this brick house and I don't know how to fix my pipe. And you're like, hey, you should go talk to Paul over here. He actually does that for a living. So even just helping other people connect and helping people solve some of the challenges they have by connecting them to other people is super, super valuable. And it makes people appreciate you, and it put you in a much, much better position.
See, that is massive. I hope you guys picked up what Mads just said there, because massive, 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 like you said there, Mads, right? Everybody mostly is running around saying, how can I get somebody to buy from me? If they can't buy from me, they're pointless, they're useless, anything else. But right, you're saying the complete opposite, right? Listen to what the guy that has 150 plus team members in just 3 years with no website is saying here. Go out, add value, treat everybody like they are somebody you care about, right? And connect people, network, add value to the marketplace. And then all of a sudden, right, all of that will reciprocate back to you with all these types of opportunities. Mads, my man, I know you're super busy. We appreciate you sitting down for episode number 1 of the Crazy Good Marketing Podcast. So many valuable tips and strategies shared here today. To recap real quickly, guys, some of the things Mads said, right? Get out there, add value. If somebody's not your right fit client, still connect with them, still treat them right. Don't wait till things are perfect. You don't need a website. You don't need business cards. You don't need all these things to grow your business. Another massive takeaway, there's so many of them, but another massive takeaway was do not hire based on resumes only, right? Read body language, connect with the individual, see where they would potentially fit in working with you. Mads, my man, again, thank you so much for being here on the Crazy Good Marketing Podcast. Where can we get in touch with you? Because I know there's folks out there that are going to watch this or going to watch the replay of this, and they're going to be like, I need help hiring, or I already have a massive team. I want them to be twice as productive. How can we get in touch with you, bud?
Yeah, so my name, Matt Singers, I'm the only one in the world with that name currently. So if you search it anywhere on social media, you will find me. You can also find my website, mattsingers.com, or our outsourcing company, which is aristosourcing.com. So that's the best places. I am on all the social channels, and I will definitely respond at some point. I have a very good assistant that helped me take good care of all my social media, so I get around and answer all the important people in the world.
Amazing. Amazing. So madsinger.com. Otherwise, this is a one-of-a-kind guest here. He's the only person in the world with the name Mad Singer. There's many Dino Gomez's already, which baffles me. But madsinger.com. Otherwise, reach out to him on social media. Brilliant guy, brilliant mind, super experienced, really nice dude on top of all that. So Mads, again, thanks again, bud. I hope you guys enjoyed episode 1 of the Crazy Good Marketing Podcast. You'll see us here on Mondays and Fridays. Hope you guys have a good one. Thanks again, Mads.
Have a great day.